Hello everyone, welcome to or back to my channel, MelCabeyVlogs. If you're new here, nice to meet you. My name is Mel. I'm an equity actor who lives here in New York City, and I share all about the ins and outs of the industry from a very realistic point of view, so make sure you subscribe. Okay, so I had the exciting opportunity to shadow the casting team of Norwegian Cruise Line for their New York City auditions, and I took so many notes and I have so many things to share. Little background, I worked as a singer-dancer for Norwegian Creative Studios, which hires people for Norwegian Cruise Line, Oceania, and Regent Cruises, starting in 2019, and I finished in 2024. So they know me pretty well. I really loved my time there, but cruise ship life just is not for me anymore. After I turned 30, I was like, okay, I don't want to live my life on ships for lots of reasons. But cruise ships are still something that I really love. And I have always been interested in casting, and I have thought once I am over this crazy industry and just don't want to hustle in this way that I currently am, then a future career I see for myself is in casting. And I think I would really enjoy cruise ship casting, but also I would be interested in regional theater, Broadway, all of that. So who knows, but I had emailed the team at NCL and I was like, hey, I would love to shadow you guys and just see what casting is like. I see you're coming to New York soon, so let me know. And they were like, yeah, come on in. So I got to watch one day of dance auditions and one day of singing auditions. And I learned so much from an actor perspective about auditioning that I think is really going to change my perspective moving forward. And I really want to share a lot of things that I learned because I think it's going to help you guys when you're auditioning. So let's jump into it. We are gonna talk about the dance call first, and then I'll talk about the singing call. Also, I do wanna say that all of this is from what I observed as Mel watching this and seeing things happen, unless I specify that one of the casting directors I was with told me something. It's all coming from my brain and things I saw, so there might be more reasoning behind certain things that I'm not aware of, but this is just what I saw. So, first thing, dance call. You come in the room, you start learning the combo. First two things I noticed. Casting is watching while you're learning. They're not like studying everyone, but you know, you learn for 15 to 20 minutes, so they're checking in, they're kind of seeing who already is catching their eye, who has like the look that they're going for, or they're just seeing like moments of like, oh, that looked really good. Like they're just getting familiar with you, especially because when you audition for a dance audition, you're dancing with other people. So it's hard to really like get to see everybody fully from the casting perspective when you just do the combo once or twice. So this is a way for them to kind of get familiar with you. So I think just know that when you're learning to be as present as possible and not to like mark messily. We all have different ways of learning. Like sometimes I really like to watch for the first time and then mark, but once you're like dancing, really just like go for it and know that they could be watching you at any time. And then with that, I discovered, and this was a full Mel thing, that outfits really matter. What you wear to the audition matters. First and foremost, the shape of the things you're wearing. Know what you're auditioning for. Wear things that are gonna complement your body. I think for most shows, cruise lines and musical theater, you should be dressing in a way that is showing your body at its best. So you don't want to like, I don't know. For me, I know like certain things make my legs look shorter. So I always try to make my legs look longer. or certain things aren't flattering on my arms while other cuts of things are. So just be aware of like the shapes of things you're wearing, and if you're auditioning for something that isn't like asking for like baggier, hip-hoppier clothes, don't wear that. I think it's very like in style right now, but wear things that flatter your body, because it took away seeing you as a dancer. Instead, I was like, why are they wearing those baggy pants? Or like, why are they wearing that shirt that is kind of like loose on them and it just like doesn't look right? Stuff like that. So I think like how you are presenting yourself really, really matters. And then with that, also choosing colors that are gonna make you stand out, or just something that will be like, yes, like there was this girl wearing red leggings and a red broad top, and I like kept remembering her. I was like, oh, where's red legging girl? Okay, cool. But then there was this one girl that I noticed was really good, and I was like, how come she's not like standing out to me? It's because she was wearing kind of like a boring all black outfit. And I was like, oh, she's just not, there's nothing like, ooh, about that outfit that I'm like, my brain is remembering. And as dancers going to dance calls, we need to remember that casting is seeing like a million dancers all day. So just do what you can to make yourself stand out in a way. Okay. I also noticed that casting was, they were kind of checking in on people while they were learning, but they were going through the resumes of all the dancers, and they would like with a pen or something, they would mark like if they went to a certain school that maybe like one of the casting directors had a connection to, or like knows what type of dancer they churn out, they would put like a little like circle next to like the school. Or if they had worked for like another cruise line, they would circle that. Just certain things that were giving them clues about these people to then make them maybe pay extra attention to them, potentially. And then I asked the casting director what they're looking for when they're scanning the resumes, and they said that it really gives them an idea of style, like what that person tends to get cast in or be good at, or like certain schools, again, like you could be like, oh, they went to OCU, they're really good at this style. I don't know what style they're good at OCU, but it's a good dance program. I don't know. But that's what they said, so it like just gives them more information. So I guess just know that about your resume. I asked what are certain things where, you know, you're trying to whittle the groups down, because what they would do is they would audition people and then they would figure out who they were going to call back for later in the day. And I was like, oh, I noticed like there were some people that I thought were really good, you didn't call back. And one thing they said was they have an idea of like who their current performers are on their ships. So one question they're asking themselves when they're watching is, does that person fit the current look and style of the people we currently have working for us? And it could be similar to a musical. If you're replacing in a show, it could be like, oh, do they fit the vibe of who we have? So that's something. I asked if you like flub up the combo, if they care. And they said, no, if you have like a brain fart, sometimes it's just obvious that like, oh, you forgot what was going on, but you can tell, oh, they had the combo, like they got it. And they could also tell if you're a good dancer. So if you just have a moment where you mess up, like you kind of forget the choreo, it's not the end of the world. Try to pick back up and show what you have moving forward. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Okay, and then this one, very interesting to me. I just got an audition for my agent. Look at that in a second. Okay, walking back in. This is fully my opinion, what I saw. So, for example, say we were doing groups of 4. There were 4 girls who just like really weren't great. They were like, okay, I'm not really considering you. But then there's one girl who's pretty good. And especially compared to the 3 that aren't really killing it, she's gonna look extra good because she's dancing next to people who are like, or not fitting the style or whatever. And like this girl's like getting the style. But I noticed in some scenarios where that happened, and I saw the casting directors say call back. But then I was like, but if I put that girl next to some of the other girls that I was like really, really drawn to, and she was dancing with them, she wouldn't have gotten the call back, because then compared to them, they were more fitting what they were looking for, or more killing it, if that makes sense. And I saw that a few times. Or other way around, there was like one girl I was watching a lot when she was learning, and I just really I could tell like I liked her energy, I liked her movement quality, and then she got put in a group with just like powerhouse dancers, and all four of them were amazing. And I think subconsciously, maybe in casting's mind, they're like, oh, we're not going to call back all four of them. Like, you try to kind of gravitate towards who you think. And again, it is all so subjective, who you think is the best in that group. So then that girl that I was drawn to, she didn't get a call back. And I think, at least for me, from my point of view, I think it's because she danced next to these other girls that were just like standing out more in that moment. But I think if she was in another group, she probably would have gotten called back. It was very interesting to me, that part. And I really think what I learned from that is that so much of this is luck, of like who you're dancing next to when you do the combo. How, you know, like you could both be amazing, but maybe your movement quality is more what the choreographer is drawn to naturally. It doesn't mean someone's better or worse. It's just so interesting. I don't know. I was baffled by that. And I think moving forward, I'm really gonna like know that that could be a factor that's in play. Last thing I noticed about the dance call is that they have to make decisions really, really quickly. And they also have to try to watch as much as they can. And again, completely from my perspective, I found a lot of the choices, and I was kind of playing a game in my head of like, obviously what I said didn't matter. I wasn't telling casting any of this, but I was like giving callbacks to people in my head and picking them. And I found that a lot of it felt very arbitrary, of like, who in that moment stood out to me, or who did I catch at their best moment in the combo where I caught somebody else in their not best part of the combo and I missed when they were really slaying, because you have to like watch 4 to 5 people at once. And it's just, it's tricky. So as a dancer, if you're like, I really killed that audition, like I did everything, I think just remember that they really are only seeing glimpses of you doing the combo because they're trying to take in everyone. And I would say 90% of the time, if you're getting cut, it's not because you weren't good. And I think especially if you are a musical theater performer watching this and, you know, you're someone who has worked quite a bit, you know you're good. And I think the auditions I go to, everyone is so good. So the choices of who is getting called back or who is getting the job really is just like so much on like your look and vibes, and if they caught you at the right time in the combo, or they liked something they saw when you were learning the combo. And it's a lot more arbitrary than we think. Personally, that's what I believe. So, very interesting. Okay, moving on to the singing. I don't have as many notes about the singing, but similar to the dance call, what you wear really, really matters. There were a lot of times people came in where I was like, oh, just what they chose wasn't flattering for their body, and it made me not be able to picture them in like the costumes on stage. So I think just research the show you're auditioning for, fit the style of it, and also make sure that it's flattering on your body. And I think putting effort into your singing outfit helps the team know that you're taking it a lot more seriously. I noticed that people who were dressed in a more like, until they put more effort into their appearance, I was more drawn to them, and I was like almost rooting for them more subconsciously. So I thought that was interesting. How you interact in the room matters. So for singers, you walk in the room, you say hey to the team, you go over to the piano, talk to the pianist, and ultimately you need to go in that room just having confidence and being yourself, not like, hi, how are you? Don't be fake, but just be like, hey, how's it going? However you as yourself would do that. Be like shy or apologetic or super quiet or super loud. Just like bring your natural energy into the room so they can see who you are. There were a few times where I think people were like, just seemed very timid and they didn't want to take up the space. Like even like they would talk to the pianist and they would like barely like walk out to the center of the room from the pianist. Like they were almost like holding it like a crutch, and they didn't want to, you know, take up the space and be like, this is what I'm singing today. And then that automatically made me be like, okay, I don't think then they could command the stage as a singer. Even if their voice was beautiful, their presence wasn't like, so just be mindful of how you're acting in the space, how you're interacting with the team. I think all of that really matters. And then the last thing that I noticed, and I think it's similar to the dancing thing, is my opinion of people changed depending on the few people that went before them. So for example, a few people came in who just were not it. And then somebody came in who was finally like more what they were looking for. And they gave her a call back. But then I thought, oh, but I feel like if she went right after that girl that they were like freaking out about who was so amazing, they wouldn't have given her the call back. Because they would have kind of been like comparing her to that last girl where when she came, it was after people who just were not it. Does that make sense? Where also, like, say that there were like killer powerhouses, bam, 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 and then a person comes in who's still great, but isn't like blowing their head out of the water like the other ones did, they won't get the call back. So I also think it's luck of like when you go in the room, who you're going after, how long has it been since they saw someone that they were like, yeah, or like, have they seen a lot of people where they're like, oh my God, obsessed, obsessed, obsessed. And then they're like, okay, now we're getting tired of being obsessed with people. Again, they didn't tell me any of this. This is just what I was seeing as I was watching. So I don't know, I thought it was interesting. And there were people that in my mind I would have given a call back to, and the team didn't. And I asked them like, oh, why not? And they were like, oh, we're just like, I don't know, it wasn't anything special, or like just wasn't hitting us the way some other people hit us. So I think also a lot of like personal preference comes into play, just like the vibe they're feeling that day, what they're looking for. And I know like I usually think it's such crap when they're like, you weren't what they were looking for today. Doesn't mean you were bad. I'm always like, bull crap. If I was good, I should get a call back. But no, it's really not true. I think it's just so many different things are being considered at one time. And it's hard to give like a specific reason most of the time of why you didn't get a call back or why you did. Yeah, that is everything I learned. It was very fascinating. And yeah, my mind is kind of blown from it. And I think I'm going to go into things with a different perspective. It also did teach me that like this industry is so much about timing, luck, right place, right time. And ultimately, I think a lot of it is arbitrary. I do. And that's not casting's fault. That's not anybody's fault. There are just so many people and not a million jobs to give out. So that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So yeah, that is what I learned. I hope that this is helpful to you guys. And if you have any questions, let me know. And that's it. I'll see you Sunday for this week's vlog. Mwah. Bye.